Hi there, disciples of the guitar. I just wanted to add this little session because yeah, someone asked me to maybe go a little bit more into detail about my songwriting, and I decided to just implement yeah, practical things like maybe playing to show you how I'm going about songwriting. I think, as I said in my first video about that, most of it comes just intuitive. It's just all the influences you have in your head, and you try to build something out of that, all that rubbish in your head. And but yeah, as I said, maybe nowadays a little bit more going into practice. So I have my reliable Kiesel here, and should work. Okay, it does. So the idea is to yeah, show you some chords that I really like, that I implement very often. Yeah, and maybe just explain you how I go about songwriting, riff after riff, with a song that I'm actually writing right now. So yeah, so first of all, the one of the chords or the chord shapes that I like the most, and I play them very often, are this typical sus chord shapes. Like, for example, I don't know, like, for example, so just being not a normal major or major chord, or just a normal minor chord, or even not the normal power chord, like I go for this. So and I'm using these chords all over the place. So on my first album, for example, the first song is in the key of A, and guess what chord I'm using? I just like the quality of these chords. They don't seem too happy, they don't sound like some melancholic stuff. They just sound, as I call it, open. So they, I don't know, I have no better explanation for it. And if you use a drop tuning like I do, so the first string is tuned 2 half steps down, then you can use these chords in the lower register even easier, just by doing so this would be a perfect example. In general, I like these open chords, however they are shaped. For example, like this one, or for example, this, for example. And all these kinds of open chords I'm trying to use or to implement in my riffing. And another thing I'd like to do when I'm writing songs or when I'm writing riffs, I want to add a certain quality to a riff and to a song. So, for example, with my newest song, the first riff is rather, or should sound rather intimidating and evil, if you want. And so I chose this chord figure, which works easily because I have this drop tuning. So you use this chord. It looks like a normal power chord, but as the lowest string is tuned down, it sounds different. So the riff goes like. This just as an example. What I also like is riffs that are not, that do not sound too easy, just not like. Just like this. So then I would add maybe like, things like. Like this. And so this was a riff that I wrote, I would say instantly, though it consists of actually two riffs. The first one is this. And then I just automatically went. I just imagined in my head, maybe in the background there's some ambient guitar, a clean ambient guitar going on, or maybe there's a nice lead line over this. And then the next thought, of course, would be, how do I get out of this? And I decided to end the riff with this chord, so it goes like. So the next big question would be, what part would I play now? And I thought maybe after this rather simple part, maybe a little bit more tricky thing should be going on. So yeah, I thought about. Also another example of one of these open chords. Rather hard to play, because it's the first three notes are just a normal power chord, but then I add this note. It's really difficult to play, especially if you have small hands like I do. So yeah, the thought was then, what part should come then? And after all those riffing that was going on, I just thought maybe a breakdown would be a good thing. So the listener could maybe relax a little bit, and I can also relax a little bit. So I went down to C again. So my guitar is tuned in drop C. So I ended it with. And then the thought was, what part could come now? What part could come now? And I just went for a rather simple thing. So there's only one note that is actually that I actually use in addition to the open chord. This being the breakdown part, of course with a better guitar sound, but my gate is now really set to a hard gate setting. So if I turn down the volume, the gate shuts everything down pretty fast. So and then I thought this could be actually the end part of the song when played as a harder riff. So after these with some soloing on it that I had in my mind. So the final part would then be so just a simple figure. And so on and so on. And this then just fades out. So actually the song, or the basic skeleton of the song was finished. So I just had to think over how to put which part where, and some arrangement things, and that basically was it. Another riff that came into my mind, and I tried to implement it in the song also, was this riff. So just like this. So as you can see, it's all about open chords, some odd meter beat timed stuff like and what I also use a lot are clean tapping things, and mostly as intros, as breakdown parts, or maybe as lead outs or something. But yeah, that's basically it. So I would say I would close this short little video snippet session with one of my favorite chords. You can guess, it's a sus chord, like. See you, bye bye.